Hey everyone, it's Kaz. I want to do a little video on how you make an illustration look less digital and more finished. So this question came from Nikki Welsh, and she did this awesome illustration of a red panda necromancer. It's a very cool scene. It's got a great composition. There's just a lot to like about this, but it looks fuzzy too, overly digital. I mean, there's just the telltale signs if you look at the fuzziness and the edge quality, like around this magic. And if we're just zooming in on this red panda right here, there's just all this kind of, I know this is low resolution just for the sake of turning in the assignment, but there's just kind of this fuzziness, out of focus look, like it's a fuzzy photograph that tells us this is digital. That's something that doesn't really occur in traditional media so much, unless you're using wet oil paints and not getting real clean edges on those. So her specific question is, do you have suggestions on a Photoshop brush that will make it look less fuzzy without directly outlining the illustration? I want to show my depth and volume with shading and not lines, and I prefer soft brushes in Photoshop. Typically, I use one called Soft Shady Graphite from a set I bought. It is great for blending, but I often get the critique that it's fuzzy, and I'm struggling on how to fix that as I refine the illustration. I'm gonna be honest, I usually don't refine my work to the level it can be because I'm literally running one assignment into another. Not that I don't want to, it's just a time problem. I'm used to traditional mediums, which is why I've been practicing painting in Photoshop. Anyway, what are your suggestions to take this to the potential I know it has as I refine it? Great question, and a common question. So, one of the struggles is like when you're in a class situation, or if you're on tight deadlines, it's just a time constraint thing. The thing that's going to take you most of your time, honestly, is finish. Doing your initial drawing and blocking in and shading and all that. It takes time, but you can do it fairly quickly. It's when it comes down to the edge finish that every illustrator will tell you that's where the time sink is. So I'm just going to do my demo. Look how great this character is over here. I'm in love. I just want to see a whole series, a whole book of this particular monster creature over here. That is not what we're talking about. So a few of the techniques I use, one of them is selection tool. And selection tool is a great way to make sure you have nice clean edges. So in the case of this background, I wouldn't leave it like this, but essentially I'm just coming in here and finding the edge. And you can do this with, Smart Select. There are many tools for this. But in this case, I just came in here and I drew this edge, and I'm just deselecting that to get edge, and then I'm just using the fill tool, edit fill, and then I'm putting a color in here. And the next step with that is to come in with something like a natural brush. So I have these plugins over here. For this, I believe I used MK's Way, and I'm just grabbing Alt. I'm on a PC, grabbing a color and just coming in and filling it in. So I'm still getting that fun, vibrant texture of, the great brush strokes, but I'm making sure that this edge, like this edge around the moon, is nice and clean. So, and I can always come back here with a blender and just take it. If I want it to be less sharp around a particular edge, then I can just blend it. But this edge around the shoulder right here, it's better with a sharper edge. And then the next step on this is, if you'll look here, before, after, I came into the face, and what I used was just a pencil brush. So a lot of what finding brushes that are a great fit for you is just getting a pack of them, getting several, and just playing with them until you find ones that feel natural to you. So this borrowed pencil, I'm grabbing a color here and grabbing a layer that I can actually draw on. So this is from my new selection. But if you'll see, if I come in here with the background color, or if I come in here with the foreground color, you know, I'm getting something that looks like fur, and that's cleaning up that fuzzy edge and also giving me some texture and some realism to the fur. And so it's not a hard line. It's not like a holding line around the character. It's just spending a little bit of time and making sure that you have strong contrast, strongly established lights and darks, pushing things forward and backwards. And, you know, just a little bit of edge quality will instantly read fur to you, when before it was looking, you know, just kind of like a fuzzy soft. It could have been made out of fabric rather than out of fur. And so a lot of what I'm doing here is just grabbing and filling in an edge. Another thing you can do is using values. So levels. If I come in here and I want this to turn, so I'm just selecting again, old pal selection tool, and coming in here with levels. All right, my levels histogram is up, and then I'm just going to make that a little darker. Now obviously that hard line right there is not natural looking, but if I come back into my layers, and you know, you see right here you have the mask. So I'm just coming in the mask with black and my pencil tool again, and I'm pulling out, you know, I'm just scribbling really quickly here. I'm just pulling out and pulling in. So that is filling that space quickly, but I'm also getting that nice, you know, soft fur edge. Something I learned, if you have black and white up here, if you hit X, then it's gonna move the background color to the foreground. So you can just go back and forth like that. So that is another trick, but a lot of it just has to do with spending, especially on areas that are your main focal point. You don't have to do that everywhere, but just where the eye is going to notice that there is an edge or there isn't finish those out. Spend the time doing like this face. The other trick that I use, so if I come in here with there are brushes, like this is called Hatch Cranny from Grit Brush. I also have a Hatch Thrasher. It's going to look like fur, and there are other brushes that are very specific to fur. Let's grab another layer here. So I'm just selecting that. Of course, this is really, you know, I can take the opacity down so it's not so intense and very, you know, this is a brush looking thing. And just, you know, okay, see that? That's just filling in a texture that starts to look like fur. And I might not leave it just with that hatch, you know, if I get it in. See, look at that. Moving that around, already we look a lot like fur. And then I can still come in here with a pencil brush. Grab my pencil again, you know, and apply some more natural strokes, you know. Just with even that much, it's going to look natural and it's going to look like fur. If you look at this boot down here, what I did with that was just selection tool right there. So I just came in, and I'll do it with this overlap right here. So just selection tool, and then I came in here with like this K's way. You fill this in, or you could just go edit fill. So I did that, and then I came over just with a blender and soften it up just a little bit where I needed that to go a little lighter. Just like that. And you have a much clearer edge quality now than you did before, and it didn't take all that much to accomplish it. So those are some of my main suggestions for getting to a more finished level with your illustrations in a way that looks natural versus digital. The feedback I get from people all the time with my work is they don't know how I did it. They want to know what media I used. They can't tell if it's digital or if it's analog media, and that's exactly what I want. I want them to be guessing. I want them wondering if it's mixed media like pastel and pencil, or digital, or something that they just can't quite identify, but they like it for some reason. So let's take a look at this. Let's look at the before. All right, and zoom in here. And with just about 10-15 minutes of messing around and adding some brush strokes, this. is much more finished looking. Obviously it's not done, but that gives you a good idea of what you can do just by fixing the edge quality and adding in some texture along the edges using natural looking brushes. So hopefully that's helpful, and keep on creating and practicing, and you will definitely come upon your way of accomplishing finished looking work. This was a super fun illustration to work on and definitely worth taking to the next level. Stay creative, stay weird, and see you next time.